Hello and welcome back to another figure reviewing video. Today we'll be taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series Moff Gideon and his troops. And those troops, of course, being the Imperial Praetorian Guard and the Imperial Armored Commando. I've had these guys in the box for a while, so figured I'd finally open them up. Wait, did you think this was all of them? No, it's all of them. So without further ado, let's get these guys opened up. Of course, starting off with Moff Gideon. First looks out of box. This guy looks pretty cool. Here's the helmet. Here's the staff. Here's the unextended staff. And then here's his blaster. Now looking at the figure itself, I'd say the likeness is really good. It looks just like Giancarlo Esposito. I've seen a lot of people complain about it, but I don't really understand why it looks just like he did in the show. He doesn't have a mustache because he didn't have a mustache in the show. Then there's the cape. The cape's really cool. You got two-sided colors. Jetpack's really cool. The whole figure itself is extremely shiny. You'd be a little scared to get fingerprints all over it. For articulation, he looks up that far, which is pretty good. Down that far, there is a joint at the neck, as well as in the head itself, of course. Shoulder pads are on an O-ring. Goes out that far. Nice bend. There's actually a ball joint at the hand, so that's nice. Same on this arm. And go that far forward, that far back. Definitely hits the splits. Goes that far back. Decent articulation. It goes a lot more forward than back on the foot. The chest is actually an overlay piece, as you can see. Holsters right here. Tabs up, grab the gun, stick it in, and boom. Fits perfect. The helmet goes on just like this. And he's actually not a chinner. Cannot see his chin. If you look up, yep, still can't see it. That's pretty good. Better than most clone troopers. For his staff, you get this same electrical effect in the same color, I'm pretty sure too. That was from the Magna Guard. So it can come off. And then as you can see, there's actually a little grip right there, so you're supposed to slide that in. And then there you go. If you want to take it off, you can. If not, there you go. Just slide the staff into his hand like so. It's kind of bendy, but you can get it on there. Or of course you can just stick it right in. I would definitely say this figure is worth it. He is awesome. I've seen him go for only like $20, which is insane. He is a really good figure, has great articulation, good likeness, and he looks extremely badass, so I would definitely recommend getting him. Now for the Praetorian Guard. First looks out of boxes. You get this whip. It doesn't have any articulation. It is sort of thin though, so if you press it against something, it'll keep shape, but yeah, no wire. This is a pretty cool blade. And then I believe there was another weapon, a third, I can't remember, because each of them did wield something different. And I think it might have been the same staff that came with Moff Gideon. But here are the figures up close. Really cool helmet. This piece is soft, it's an overlay. Goes up and down to help articulation. Nice cloth. And underneath, I do not have the original Praetorian guards, but I've heard that this is actually reuse. You can obviously see the pins. There is no thigh swivel. So there are a total of 3 fabric parts. There's this front one. There's this whole back kind of camo sort of thing. And then there is actually a third one coming out from under the top of the torso right there. Or bottom of the torso, but top right of the figure. The arms themselves might be reused as well. Really shiny, similar to Moff Gideon. Not as shiny. For articulation, try to make sure the overlay's down a bit. Head goes that far back, that far forward, I think. Yeah, there's a joint at the neck, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't move much, but there is one. And then goes up pretty far. Really nice elbow bend, hinge at the hand. Of course, the shoulder pads on the O-ring. Goes that far back, that far forward. Now for legs. You can definitely do the splits. Goes about that far. Since it is a double joint, you get that much back, which is really far. And then for the foot, it goes back really far. Forward a tiny bit, but not very much. I did just notice that there are actually butterfly joints in there, which do definitely increase movement and get it way farther. Just slide that into his hand. The handle is actually kind of like a katana or a sword, so that's pretty easy. Looks pretty good. And then for the blade, there is a little raised piece right there, so assuming there. I did kind of like mash the fingers a bit to get it in there, but looks pretty good. Did just notice that on this other one, the cloth piece is actually like directly on the back instead of like on the side. I think these guys would look really cool on any Star Wars shelf or display, especially if you put them next to Moff Gideon, or even if you have Paz Vizsla, maybe you could like make a fighting scene diorama, or maybe just put Paz Vizsla laying flat on the ground motionless in front of them. It would look really cool. So yeah, these guys are definitely worthy of your shelf space. Now for the Armored Commandos. So for accessories, you get this jetpack, looks pretty clean, nice. This little pistol, and then the longer blaster. Now taking a look at the figures. Really cool helmet. Nice sculpting overall. No thigh swivel though. So for articulation, goes about that far. Nice bend. There is a hinge. Is it a? Yeah, there's a hinge. Can like that far up, that far down. So decent head movement. There is another ball joint at the bottom of the neck. Move around. Up that much. Down that much. Can do the splits. Goes that far back. And then there's very limited range of movement on the feet. There is actually a ball joint in there. Definitely increases movement. And there's actually a cuff swivel. Stick the pistol in here. And put that little tab over it. And then tab the jetpack right in. These guys have decent articulation. I think they look really cool. I really like the color scheme and the shininess, so I'd say these guys are definitely worth it. About $25 is a really good price for these guys. So, would I recommend adding these figures to your collection? Definitely, 100%. These figures are awesome. They have really good articulation for the most part. I personally really like the color contrast. I think the shininess looks really cool. It would definitely add a lot to an Imperial or a Mandalorian shelf. I personally really like these characters, and it was really cool seeing them in action in The Mandalorian Season 3, so yes, I would say these figures are definitely worth it. So, as always, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.